especially in Poland, man. Y'all are smart as fuck. Polish people are smart. Polish people are hardworking and smart. The way that the world is so flat and accessible, there's a lot of success that can come anywhere. And why not Poland? Hey, I want a Porsche because I love fast cars and it's my dream. Fuck yeah. Or hey, I don't even need to make that much money to do all these things. Fuck yeah. But it's just being honest with yourself. No one's bragging like, hey, I read one book this year and I just spent the whole year on one book. Like, no one's impressed by that because we're kind of impressed with the quantity of things and the perception of things. There's so many stupid rich people and there's so many smart poor people, and the smart people they're overthinking themselves, and the stupid people are like, well, I don't know, maybe I'll go mow lawns and see if people like it, and then I mow more lawns. It's so impressive to see you from 2013 to 2025. What an impressive story. You're publishing the biggest business names in all of your a major country. Like, what a great way to live.
Hello Noah, it's Marcin from Poland, actually from Madeira, but from Poland. Nice to see you.
Marcin, my man.
Great pronunciation, thank you so much.
We've been doing this internet business stuff many years, so I was surprised that you're now the publisher of $1 Million Weekend in Poland. And what a cool... I think people don't realize, like, the internet is very small, and if you're doing interesting things, you will attract and connect with a lot of special people over some time.
I checked and we exchanged first email in 2013.
Yeah, I think I try to be mindful of being nice when I reach out to people, or when people reach out to me, because you never know who's going to come back around. Like, I had the founder of Groupon email me, and I told him to, like, screw off before Groupon started, and then, like, years later I had to email him like, hey, you still okay with me? And he's like, oh yeah, what's up, man? And I was like, oh, cool. And so you kind of be mindful about how you can try to help people, and how you try to interact with people while you work online and professionally.
And I'm not sure you know, like, why I'm your Polish publisher and how it started. It all started in 2013 because I took part in your how to make 1K in a month course. Yeah. And it came up that perfect idea for me is to write a book. So I wrote my first book in 2013, 14, that I validate this whole idea on your course. I get my first 50 customers, like, without anything except idea, courage to ask them for money, and my bank account. That's it. So the whole publishing house I own now started that day. That's crazy shit.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And thanks to your product you did last time, at that time, I was able to publish, like, Gary V, Bill Perkins, and such a cool people in my publishing house in Poland. And everything started from that tiny decision to take part in your course, how to make 1K in a month.
That's monthly1k.com, which is now the basis for $1 Million Weekend. And I reflect a lot, like, what is it that the people that are getting what they want doing versus the people that aren't? And it's actually quite simple. It's just effort. It's effort over a sustained period of time, over a long period of time. And you just started. It's not that maybe you are smart, but it's not that you have to even be smarter or good looking. You just have to do it. And it's like, what's the secret? You just do it. How do I do it? You just do it. When? Right now. And I think it's so impressive to see you from 2013 to 2025, where you tried something, it eventually worked, and now look, you're publishing Bill Perkins, Gary Vaynerchuk, you got my book in Poland. Like, how exciting.
Yeah, it is. It's like,
good for you.
It's like normal thing, because I'm working with amazing authors like all the time, and everything started from that moment, and we built this company on the basic that you taught me that time, like, validate the idea, start asking. If someone asks me what's the most important lessons from you, I will say asking. Right?
I would agree. It's my mom is an asker. Like, some people might say she's a complainer. It depends who you ask. But, if she gets a coffee and she doesn't like it, she's going to tell them, like, I want a different coffee. And it's not to say that you should be bothering people or taking advantage of people. But when you really think about life, it all comes down to communication. And it's communication about asking for things, whether that's asking for a marriage, asking for a refund, asking for a discount, asking for a customer, asking for, buying a house or renting a place. And so the better and more comfortable you can get at asking, and being a little uncomfortable, the more you're going to get what you want. Like last week, I was at a Chinese restaurant and someone left their food on the table and they left the restaurant and they finished. And I was like, I'm going to eat some of the food off their plate. And it's gross. I understand that, but I'm only doing it. And it was part of the plate they didn't touch. It was on and I took it and I ate it because they're going to throw it away.
Yeah.
And I didn't do it because I need the food, right? Like, and I don't need the money, but it's a little uncomfortable. But it makes me feel, and weirdly, it makes me feel confident. It gives me a sense of confidence that I'm willing to do something probably a little strange to some people. And it makes me feel like, okay, well, I can do other things. What else am I going to do? Not necessarily eat people's food off plates after they leave, but, you know, am I going to try to, you know, be a little bit more there for my daughter? Like, what other ways can I do, you know, as I've increased my confidence, push myself in positive directions?
Hej, ja tylko na chwileczkę. Wywiad świetny, prawda? Jeśli jesteś do tej pory z nami w tym wywiadzie, to zatrzymaj teraz wideo. Znaczy, jak skończę mówić dopiero. Wejdź sobie w link poniżej. Tam jest link do książki Noah Kagana i zamów sobie książkę Noah Kagana u nas w OSMPower, bo to będzie najlepsza inwestycja Twojego czasu i pieniędzy i zwrotu w Twoim biznesie. Nie zwlekaj, link poniżej. I zapraszam do kontynuowania oglądania tego wywiadu.
So when I was, implementing our lessons before the book was ready to, buy in Polish people gonna buy it like in a few days because we are waiting for the print to come to our shelves, and all of them are afraid of asking. They're afraid to get someone saying no to them. But to listen to someone saying no to me is like, okay, life goes on. But they are so afraid. So do you have any thoughts about this? Why they are so afraid of hearing no, even if they have a company, they adults, they make money, but still they are so afraid.
I mean, they're afraid because it's a feeling of rejection. It's a feeling of self-worth is what it comes back to. They're saying, I'm not worthy, which sounds kind of crazy. You're like, I just wanted to, ask for a discount or ask for something. It's that you're not special. But I think there's two ways to overcome it. Number one is, and this is what I've seen from, the $1 Million Week that sold over 100,000 copies and monthly 1K, tens of thousands of people. It's that you have to look at business like a professional sport. And what does that mean is that you have to look at asking like a skill that you can develop. Like, I don't know if you have a hobby, but take anything that you've gotten good at, it's that you did it more than once. So if it's cooking, if it's swimming, if it's writing, and that's the same with business. And I think people think in business like, oh, like I've always heard this, that person's just a business guy. He just knows business. And it's like, no, maybe he's really studied it or she has studied it and practiced it. And so with asking, the more that you can ask and keep asking, and when you get rejected, realizing like, oh, it's not me they're rejecting, it's my ask, the more you can start thinking, what do I really want? Let me go ask for it. Like I'm asking all the time. Like we're booking that Mexico trip and I asked for a discount and we got 25% off. And if they said no, okay, well, the downside was nothing, a moment of discomfort. The upside is I saved $3,000 on my tickets. In the book, and what's famous is the coffee challenge, which is, I encourage everyone to go do it, which is asking for 10% off when you buy coffee. And the point is not to get the discount. The point is to get the rejection, to feel the discomfort and realize life goes on. And I would say this is the foundation of what's really separating people from where they are and where they want to be. It's just being a little bit more comfortable, starting to realize they can get what they want if they just ask for it and keep practicing it to get better. So today, go ask for a date, go ask for a raise, go ask for a discount, go ask do the coffee challenge, and people it's truly life-changing.
In one of your newsletters, you said you're going to Portugal for biking, I think, with your friend this year. And I replied to this mail asking, can I go with you? You didn't answer for this mail. I was talking with my wife about this, and she asked me, what do you feel about it? Like, I don't care. I just asked. He didn't answer. He didn't reply. I don't care. But I did the step, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of bikes, but I could buy a bike and go with you. But I did the thing, and I was like, okay, I did it. I tried my chance, right? And what's funny for me, like even adults are afraid of this asking part of the business. They prefer to, create so much work and job around the project instead of just asking customer for money.
Yeah.
Like a website and so on, like everything up front, and then maybe ask or say, okay, it doesn't work. But did you ask? Oh, we built the website, we did this, we've got the Facebook, with the Instagram and so on. Like, but did you ask?
Yeah, we, to try to give stories, and I'll give, some comments on that. At AppSumo, we're putting out a new feature, which is like an AI marketplace thing. And we posted online, hey, check this out. And then one of the people at AppSumo messaged me and they're like, well, what do you think? And I was like, well, did you talk to the customer and ask them what they thought and ask them to purchase it? He's like, no, I'm going to give them a day. And I was like, just do it right now. Right now. It takes 30 seconds. Everyone's busy. Just ask them right now. And I wouldn't ask people. And immediately I got why they're not buying it. Some people bought it, and now we can improve it to make a decision. And it blows my mind. That's why we started the conversation at the beginning, is just about some of the starting right now, just getting going. And you don't realize, like, holy shit, this is it. It's not as complicated as I think people try to trick you, or people try to sell you that you don't have ability to do that kind of thing right now. Now, the other thing I will highlight is that as you start asking for things and doing it right away, which I think are the two foundations of success, you realize that as you ask, you'll start getting better at asking. So you asked, hey, can I join you on a bike ride? Now, what I'd recommend for everyone is that the best ask is the second ask.
Follow up, yeah.
Best ask is the second ask. So it's, hey, no, I don't know if you saw my reply. I didn't, because those emails go to a special folder. But if you sent me a WhatsApp, if you sent me an email, or the second email, no one does the second ask. But that is probably the easiest way to get ahead in all sales. And the other way of doing it, in addition, is how do you make an ask so good that the person's excited to reply? So instead of saying, hey, Noah, can I join you? It's like, well, this is my vacation with my friend, and now it's a guy I don't know, and maybe you suck at biking, or you don't wear enough spandex. Who knows? But the other way of thinking about it is like, hey, Noah, oh man, there's a restaurant. I can get us reservations. If you're going to do this route, here's a route I'm suggesting. And I think I can actually get us like a bike rental at a better rate. Again, I'm not saying people have to do it. It's not like I need more free things, even though I will accept them. But it's, if you want something, how much effort are you putting in for your ask? Now, don't let that stop you from asking. Like, okay, I need to prep for 3 years to do it. But most people are saying, hey, can I join you for the ride? 2 people, the 1%ers, are making it exciting to get someone to actually reply to them. And I've ridden with a few people who are audiences or familiar with my work, and they generally do a little more of what I'm suggesting to make the ask compelling to the other person.
Yeah, for example, if you want to go like fishing in Portugal, I will be the perfect guy to be your companion, because I'm a fan of fishing, right? Like big game things. That's easy for me. That's why I didn't like persist. For example, I didn't ask you for an interview because there was like no point asking you like, hey, what for? What's in it for you? But now when we represent you in Poland, your book, it was obvious to ask you for this interview to promote your book in Poland. So I'm giving you the value. That's obvious, right? And
yeah, I think it's there. Yeah, I what I would encourage people is don't overthink the ask, right? And it's been I've been asking for so many years. I get better and better and more comfortable and so forth. But the point though is that what are you trying to accomplish? What are you trying to do? And I think most people are tricked into thinking they need to meet certain people. Like, oh, if I could just meet with Noah, everything's going to be solved. And what they need to do is start working on themselves and be clear what they want. Mm-hmm. And realizing everyone has the power to do it themselves. And especially, I would say Eastern Europeans, the Polish people, my people, your people, I think there's a lot of skepticism sometimes, right? And cynicism, like, I don't know if I can do it. This, it's kind of,
like
especially from years. What's that?
Like a self-esteem. I'm not worth it. I'm not good enough.
Yeah. Or like, can we really do it? And then you're like, I try to think to myself, like, why not me? And when you meet some of the other people that you kind of idolize, you're like, that guy's actually not better than me. Fuck that guy. Mm. And that's the kind of stuff, we're talking about asking, like, what is he talking about asking? But that's the basis of asking for someone to work with you, asking for someone to be a customer, asking for someone to invest in your business. And by starting and asking, those are the building blocks, the Legos that help people, someone like yourself. What an impressive story. You were trying to have your own business, and then 10 years later, you're publishing the biggest business names in all of your a major country. Like, what a great way to live. And I think about this, Marcin, where in my 20s, I tried so many businesses. It doesn't mean just because you're starting a business, it's going to work right away. But I started, a games company, a payments company, conferences, networking events.
You were working for free for as a volunteer in many projects, right?
For free to a lot of people, blogging, tweeting, YouTubing. And I will say that I had a dream to make my freedom number, which I talk about in $1 Million Weekend, which was $3,000, where I could finally not have to kiss anyone's ass.
Like you've got a fuck you money, right?
Yeah, I mean 3,000. I don't know. It's maybe fu money, fuck you money in parts of India, or very affordable places. I don't. Poland's not even affordable anymore, I heard.
Oh, it's not. The big city, especially big cities, not.
Ugh, God, I heard it's so affordable. It's disappointing. But it enabled me to finally do the things I want to do. And I think, Marcin, I lately all I think of is, man, thank you so much 20 years ago, Noah, for doing the things you did, and how hard it felt, and how frustrated I felt, and how honestly sad I felt. And I'm like, man, thank God I did it. And I'm so proud of myself. And so what everyone else can realize is that, what are you going to thank yourself for today in the next 5 years? And I think now it's like, I'm going to thank myself for being more present with my daughter versus trying to make more money or get more followers or maximize all my finances or do more crypto or any of this stuff. Because I'm not going to get the money and stuff you can always change, but you can't get time back with your family. So I think for anyone out there that's not where they want to be, especially in Poland, man, y'all are smart as fuck. Polish people are smart, right? Polish people are hardworking and smart. And the way that the world is so flat and accessible, there's a lot of success that can come anywhere. And why not Poland? Looking to see in the next 5 years from people reading $1 Million Weekend, from people being inspired by all you're doing for Poland, what stuff is going to come out of Poland. It'd be exciting.
And both of us, you and I, we hustle a lot. And when we decide, okay, it's time to have family, we're going to be all in. Father, mother, and so on, all in. And I observe many entrepreneurs, having 40 years old, they've got successful business, so rich, but they cannot stop because they believe in a mantra with money never is enough. I was like, that's such a bullshit. So they're saying, I'm working hard for my family, meaning I'm not at home with my family to make my family become more rich. That's crazy shit. What do you think about this concept?
I think when people have in their bios, they put father first, I'm like, yeah, I think you're probably a shitty father. I always think when they're father, entrepreneur, Jesus lover, Jewish, whatever, I'm like, why do we need to do that for other people? And so I don't think it's bad to work hard. I don't think it's bad to suffer. I think those are all great things. But I think it's just being clear on your intentions. If you have a family and having more free time and being available for your family, and you have to make some sacrifices to do that, that's phenomenal. And I don't think there's a right way to live. I think we all live our own way, and we try to tell others to live that way to help us feel good about ourselves. But what's important is just being clear with your intentions. If you're like, yeah, I'm trying to get rich so I can actually be with my family, or trying to get rich to make up for childhood trauma, or childhood, I was
or buy a Porsche, yeah.
Yeah, hey, I want a Porsche because I love fast cars and it's my dream. Fuck yeah. I want to drive a Ferrari. Fuck yeah. I want to have Rolexes. Fuck yeah. Or, hey, I don't even need to make that much money to do all these things. Fuck yeah. But it's just being honest with yourself of what that is, versus, I think most content creators, especially the business ones, are all full of shit. And I think that most of them are liars in the sense that, I don't know, none of them actually run businesses. None of them you can see, which is bonkers to me how stupid people are. But the second part is you wonder, what are they chasing and missing that they need to get this level of attention? And I'm speaking for myself. And a lot of it was because I didn't feel like I'm so good or I'm so smart. So if people watch me, maybe I'm actually special. And I think as I'm getting older in my 40s, I'm like, how the fuck am I caring so much about all these other people? And finally being more clear, like, hey, I've got an awesome business with appsumo.com. I have a dope wife. My wife is unbelievable. She's from Venezuela. She's Portuguese citizen. And it's good. So like, I don't necessarily want to go do more things I don't want to do. And I think that's actually at the same time, the best way to get rich. The best way to get rich is not try to get rich. It's just doing the thing you actually want to do. And it turns out like you love doing it. And ideally, if it's something that also people want, you can make the most money doing that versus, hey, I see a lot of people doing AI now. I'm going to do an AI education company. I see a lot of people doing crypto. I see a lot of people doing marketplaces. And I think when you're chasing those things, it's fine if you're using it as a practice, as a skill development. But in terms of true wealth, I think it's generally finding your curiosity and problems you have in your day-to-day life and really thinking and solving those more so than, you know, like trying to just chase a bunch of other things that you think will make you happy. And a lot of times it doesn't.
The thing that surprised me is I'm selling books like, you know, $10, $20 per copy of the book that got so many answers for so many questions. And sometimes I feel like, okay, I have to convince people. I have to show the, you know, plus and so on and so on. But at the same time, this person is buying like expensive ticket for a motivational conference that costs, let's say, $3,000. So how would you address this thing? You know,
what are they selling for $3,000?
Like tickets for a Tony Robbins seminar, whatever, something like this. You know what I mean? Like they're looking for the answers that are in a book that cost $20, but they value more being a live event, like 3 days live event. For some of them, they get some answers, but most of them get just the hype of the motivation.
Yeah. What people do is they want to brag about how many books they read.
Yeah, no, like 55 bragging. Challenge.
Yeah. Or all these things. No one's bragging like, hey, I read one book this year, maybe $1 Million Weekend, and I just spent the whole year on one book. Like no one's impressed by that. And it's like, oh, well, that's interesting. Because we're kind of impressed with the quantity of things and the perception of things versus it's impressive if someone's doing something way more than they've read a lot of books. And so I've tried to be mindful instead of trying to read so many books, what am I trying to improve on? And like, how much am I reading and implementing this individual book? The other point of it though, is that, you know, my friend was asking me yesterday about drugs. He's like, which drug should I do to improve my life?
Oxygen.
Like, should I take mushrooms? Should I do this drug? I was like, wow. And what I realized though, is that different people at different times need different things. And that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes you might need like a heavy drug, ayahuasca or whatever crazy shit people are doing these days. Or maybe you just need to sit alone in the woods for a week. Or maybe you just need to go for a walk outside. Or maybe in Poland, jump in the, you know, cold water. And
yeah, it's
depending on what's going on with you, I think different tools are helpful. Like I've gone to Tony Robbins and it wasn't as helpful for me. I wrote about it, went very viral.
Very viral post, right?
Yeah, I was surprised because a lot of other people felt the same. And I think in
life,
life,
one to speak out about the situation, right?
Yeah, I think where you can do well in life is noticing your own truth that other people maybe don't see. Like someone asked me, like, how do you create $1 billion company? And the most important things is finding a problem or market that other people don't see. So if you take Tony Robbins, I felt like, wow, there's a guy who I don't agree with and everyone else seems to agree with, but I'm going to go against the grain a bit here. And it turned out that a lot of people ultimately liked it and were agreeing with me after I put it out there, but it wasn't something that people felt comfortable putting out. So, you know, just trying to be mindful. You know, your original question is, what do you think about it? I think it's fine. Spend $3,000, you know, I've spent probably over $1 million cash on courses and coaches. To this day, still, I'm hiring people. And so just being mindful what you're trying to accomplish and then try different things to see what helps you actually get there.
You know, my best investment was buying your $1,000 month something thing for like $50 or $70 per month. So it was like so low number, the price for the course, and it was the best investment like ever. As a fun fact, we also published Tony Robbins' book, Unshakable, and this book has like a crappy results in numbers of sales copy in Poland. That's also interesting for me. Like we've got different books, much written by less famous authors, but at the same time with much bigger numbers of copies sold. For example, Bill Perkins' book, Die with Zero, is like one of the top 3 books that we published. But this book is about how to spend money, not how to make money, right?
How do you promote the books in Poland? So how do you I think what's great is you find a book in America that's popular, has an author that might be known, and then how do you actually get like, let's take $1 Million Weekend or Bill Perkins, like how do you actually promote it in Poland?
First of all, I read the book, English version, and I'm checking, is there any lesson that I can implement to my life? If the answer is yes, that's the first step of my validation. And when I was reading this book, original one, the English one, Bill Perkins, I was facing like challenges. Hey, I've got money, but is it a good time to buy a house? And after, few weeks of thinking about these ideas, and then I came up with the book. I read the book. This book helped me to make a decision like, hey, we're going to buy a house. We're going to buy a new home. I'm going to buy a bike. And I did it all and I did these 3 things in 1 week. So I spent like a tremendous amount of money in 1 week, but I did it thanks to the book that I bought for $20. So when I did it, I was like, oh, fuck, man, we have to publish this book in Poland. So that was my validation. Because I knew I can sell books, but I need, special kind of book that resonates with me. You were saying like, in Poland, you can jump into cold water. We published Wim Hof Method book in Poland. And that was so successful that thanks to this book, I bought my Polish house with the cash. Thanks to the one book that we sold. That was crazy shit.
Han, so how do we sell a ton of books in Poland? What do we need to do to be the top business book in Poland?
I see 2 routes. Like one is the classic one that I'm not following, that you have to put the book like everywhere on the bookshelves. Like, shops, markets, and so on. Like a classic one, you have to go to buy the book from the shelf. And second, do some crazy marketing shit. Like one is like, tell about the book. Find people really interested in this book. For example, I never paid anyone to promote the book, but I'm sending the book to people who are good friends of mine and they want to talk about the book, right? We do interviews with American authors, English authors, and most of Polish publishers are not doing it because they are afraid of, talking with strangers in English. I don't know, maybe this. And if this, like a first phase of promoting book, attract the right people, like customers, influencers, everything is easier from that part. So
I like you. Oh, sorry, please.
Because normally people think about, okay, in the first week, we're going to sell the most number of copies. With us, it's like different. We build the momentum and the graph rise. And with other publishers, the graph falls down. Yeah.
Huh.
It's nothing special, nothing like...
Yeah.
basics.
No, I mean, I think what you're doing is what we talk about $1 Million Weekend, and what you see from success is, you do have to find something people want, and then the marketing is a lot easier, right? So you have validation that this is a popular book in another country, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. And you like it yourself. So what are you doing? You're going to ask people to buy it, right? We're coming back to the ask thing, which you might also call selling. And so it's like, you're going to go out and be like, okay, well, who is the buyer that I think will benefit from this? Like I've always thought with sales and asking, if I've created something I really think helps someone, I'm like, how could I not tell people? How could you not go and encourage people like, man, you don't know about $1 Million Weekend, or you don't know about, we have a product called tidycal.com, which is a Calendly alternative. And it's, $30 for life. And so it's an easy thing to go tell people like, yeah, stop spending $20 a month. You could spend $30 forever, and you grab tidycal, and it's just an awesome thing. And so I think that's, kind of what you were saying, that I really love your message.
And you also gave me like interesting idea to use. I think that's the secret, is I'm using other people's ideas and to make my own way of using it. You do remember that once you create like a paper kind of book, what rich people are doing and poor don't, you remember? It costs like around $100. It was like years ago.
Oh yeah, I did a book when I had, I think in terms of businesses, solve your own problems first is the best problem. And I wasn't really working much, so I was looking up a lot of what do the rich people do that they don't tell us regular people?
And how much was it? Like 100, 200, something like this? The price?
How much was the book?
Yeah.
The book was $100.
Yeah, and I bought it. Like at first, I bought this book, and it gives me idea. Hey, I can price my book higher. So a few years later, I used this concept of pricing high, thanks to the experience I did with you, with the book written by Dan Peña. So I priced this book for $150. We get gave it like a golden edges and so on, like a fancy one.
Oh, that's cool. How'd it do?
And we sold a ton of it, thanks to the marketing, the most expensive book in Poland. That was the...
Oh, that's cool.
So, it was also thanks to idea I saw in your business before. I bought this book because I think if I wouldn't buy the book that time, I wouldn't believe it's possible to sell the book for $150. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So test on yourself.
Yeah, wow. No, man, that's great to hear. It's like, I think what you're saying, and I don't. One is you just copy all my stuff, which is great. But everything I do is a copy from someone else.
Copy with a twist, right?
Yeah, I think we imagine in business we have to be so unique and so novel, pun intended. But it's really just about doing it, and then as you do it, you start evolving in your own style. But I think it's very hard to find things that are unique. I think almost nothing is unique. Even electric cars, like we had electric cars 120 years ago. I don't know if people realize that. Like going out in space, been doing it for 70 years. Yeah, is it getting better and cheaper and faster and
more convenient?
Oh, AI. Yeah, we've had that knowledge for a long time. Now it's easier, yes, to use. But what I'm trying to encourage people is don't let the fact you don't have something special yet stop you. Start with it, whatever it is, copy, march in, not in book publishing, but in something else. And then keep iterating and keep improving it and keep improving it. And that there's a lot of magic that comes from the action of starting and going.
Hej, tu Marcin Osman, na chwilkę, na sekundeczkę. Druga informacja. Dalej to wideo oglądasz. No wejdź w link poniżej. Kliknij kup zamów. Tak, moim celem jest to, żeby każdy widz, który to wideo obejrzy, kupił ten egzemplarz. Gadałem z Noah Kaganem i powiedział, że jeśli sprzedamy 10 000 egzemplarzy, to zrobimy spotkanie z nim w Polsce. Tylko i wyłącznie od Ciebie zależy, czy to się zadzieje. Twoje zamówienie jest cegiełką w kierunku spotkania z Kaganem, może nawet w roku 2025 w Polsce. To od Ciebie zależy. Link poniżej. Zapraszam do zakupów.
And do you believe in a perfect timing? Because this book about cold plunges, Wim Hof method, was super successful because of the timing. It was like 2020, pandemia, everyone was staying at home. There was nothing much to do. Polish winter that time was super hard, super cold. So the timing for the book was perfect. But do you really believe in a perfect timing?
I don't think there's perfect timing, but I think it's about the fact that you were doing things let's try to put it in another perspective. Let's say you see this Wim Hof book and you get a business idea to be a book publisher. You're like, I'm going to publish a book. So now you have to go convince a publisher that they don't know you, that you're now a new publisher, right? And then you do the exact same thing. So that could work, and that might be lucky, some say, but also you did the work. So I don't like to discount things with luck. But I think the point is the fact that you started with, what was your first book you published?
It was my book.
But what was the second book of
there
what
was
the first
Todd Henry. There was Todd Henry book about creativity.
Perfect. And so because you did that,
yeah,
it led you to be in the arena to have a chance or to make more luck that you could do Wim Hof. And so it doesn't mean it's always going to work out. I've built businesses. So I built a business, man, I don't even remember the name. Shit. It was a YouTube, Fatcast, Phatcast. It was a online video watching website. What does that sound like? YouTube. And we launched it 6 months before YouTube. And it ended up, we built it based on BitTorrent. So if you wanted to watch a video, you actually had to download BitTorrent and then download the video.
I remember the times,
on the website. But the problem was that that's very slow and a bad user experience. And then YouTube was like, well, we'll just put it in Flash and it's cheaper. Not cheaper. We'll put it in Flash. It'll be more expensive, but it'll be easier to use. And they've gone on to do well. Same thing with Stripe. We were doing payments for companies and we're like, oh, we should enable payments and all the things. But we did it for games and not for SaaS businesses or software. And Stripe went to go do that after us. And so could you say that they were lucky or not lucky? No, but at least we were in the arena getting there. And you could say all these things added up to me launching AppSumo, right? It's like, but if I sat on the sideline complaining about my job, complaining about my wife, complaining how I'm not rich, complaining about how I haven't gotten lucky yet, it's hard to win a point when you're not in the game. And so get on the court, you guys are in Europe, get on the soccer field, football field, and start shooting and kicking and kicking and kicking. And eventually that you'll score some goals. But it's very hard to do that and get luckier sitting in the stands.
It's funny with this Wim Hof method book, because everyone was asking what to do to be able to go into the cold water. The recipe is like, just go, take off your clothes and go inside the cold. That's it. So like 200 pages book is saying you can do it, like literally, because with your brain you can stop the feeling of cold and shivers and so on. But people need to watch like ton of videos to be able to go to the wood, stand in front of the river or the lake and just take off the clothes and just go. And there's a guarantee you won't gonna die in the first 2 minutes. Everyone can do it. But people are so scared of this that they need the books and courses and so on. It's a huge business.
Yeah, I think the books and courses are a way of avoiding the work, right? Because then I can blame Marchand, or I could blame Noah, I can blame everyone but myself. And I think a lot of it is, how do you look at it as more fun? How do you look at it as more of a cool life to live and a cool opportunity, right? People ask in business about having a vision. Oh, I'd love to have a better vision. I'd love to have a vision. It's like, well, where do you want to do in the future? I'd love to have, write it down. Be like, I'd love to have this, this, this. Great. Let's make that a fucking reality today. And I think that's achievable by more people than they expect. There's so many stupid rich people, and there's so many smart poor people. And it's because the smart people are and the smart people are thinking, and they're outthinking themselves. They're overthinking themselves. And the stupid people are like, well, I don't know, maybe I'll go mow lawns and see if people like it. And then I mow more lawns. Or maybe in Poland, maybe I'll do, open up saunas, or maybe I'll teach Wim Hof classes. Let me just see what happens. And then that is how they get momentum. That's how they get their success, and they get going to eventually the place that I think ideally they want to be.
And how do you evolve? Because most of your videos are for, I would say, beginners. There's also a lot of, clues for like bigger businesses, but from my point of view, you are talking to beginners, entrepreneurs at the beginning of the road, like small businesses.
I don't disagree.
So do you feel comfortable to talk about, kind of the same stuff for years, but with different people? You're not tired of this?
Yeah, it's boring. Most of the success is found in the boredom, right? Like most new people want to do new things, but if you want to get rich or you want to find success, it's doing something over very long periods of time that you maybe don't want to do. And guess what? You don't even have to do it over a long period of time. You could have to find the person that can do it over a long period of time. I think that's the part people miss. Or you get software, especially nowadays with all the tools we have, to do those things over a long period of time. But yeah, I've been doing AppSumo and software deals for 15 years. It is very boring. And it's also very successful because we found joy, or I found people who are excited about the boredom, and then they're looking for ways to improve. And so, I would say I'm more sophisticated or more experienced with this entrepreneurship, which is good and bad. That as we talked, that could be a disadvantage. But I think it's finding people who are excited, like young blood, that can be excited to be like, oh, I love software deals. I can't wait to try new deals and help more partners and promote things. Like we have a lot of, Neuron Rider, our best deal ever, is from Poland, our country. And so it's finding ways to keep things interesting, or finding people or software to help continue that for yourself.
Is by taking you out from the equation. Like, for example, now our employee, Nina, is, in touch with our authors. She talk with them, nice emails back and forward. I was like, great, it's not me anymore. I used to think it's my superpower to, reach, get contacts to like anyone around the world to ask about the book or interview and so on. And now like Nina, please do it. Yeah, I'm gonna do it. And she's cool with this. She has different style, more like a woman thing, she's flirting with the people. it works. She's happy, they're happy. That's cool. Would you agree that there are so many different ways of reaching your goals? For example, your method, like $1 Million Weekend, says start by taking money, by validating the idea. Friend of mine, he's doing great Kickstarter campaigns, and he never starts from taking money up front. First, he's building products or building the Kickstarter campaign, and he's super successful. So when someone's looking at your recommendation, you are saying, hey, start from the beginning, take some money and see. My friend, completely different way, and he's also super successful. So how to choose the right path for beginners or like people who want to go up?
I look for a few things. So if I go to the gym and I want to hire a trainer, I try to hire the trainer that looks like the body I want.
Okay.
And I feel like there's a lot of trainers online today where if you had to look for advice in business, it's like, what business did they run? Literally just ask that one question. What business did they run? And if they can't show you or show it to you, I don't know. I don't know if I would want to listen to them. But I've worked at Facebook. I've helped start Mint.com. I've AppSumo.com, almost $100 million business that you can see at AppSumo.com. And a lot of these other people, they make claims and stuff that I'm like, great, show me your business. And they don't, because they can't, because they're full of shit. So I like the trainers who are buff and have big muscles and strong abs, right? I don't know. I'm not really doing that as much these days, but looking for someone who can show me it. Now, the second thing that I would look for and who you listen to is try what they recommend and see which one works for you. There's different restaurants. Like in Poland, there's Polish, there's German, there's Chinese food, and different people like different dishes in different restaurants. And so you have to go try different ones out and see what works for you. But and those are the things I would think about in like, how do you approach business? Like there's many ways of getting rich and many approaches. The thing I would recommend though is you can't learn to swim sitting outside a pool. So let's say you like $1 Million Weekend. Mine works. I know it works. You literally, it's insane. Like, you're one of the best. It's such an amazing case study. Like literally one of the largest publishers of business in Poland, if not the largest, followed this format that's worked for me that I figured out after years. And try it legitimately. Like give yourself the weekend or many weekends, really go all in. Don't sit outside the pool, jump in the water, try to learn to swim and see what happens. Now, for me, when I was in high school, I wanted to be rich. And I read all the business books and biographies of Bill Gates and Sam Walton and these different people, but there wasn't really a book. Like there's Rich Dad, Poor Dad and 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, but they don't tell you shit. That's unfortunately, they don't tell you, how do I get a customer? How do I find ideas? How do I actually do it in a short amount of time and without a lot of money? Maybe you have kids and there wasn't anything like this. And I think I've put together a very unique process in order that if you follow the book, I guarantee people will get success. It's guaranteed, just like yourself. But you have to put in the work. You have to get in the pool. And if a lot of people seem to like my way, but there are many ways of doing it. I just don't like spending a lot of money and time to make sure I'm building things that people really want.
I think the most crucial thing is like what you said, what works for you. For example, we sell paperback, ebooks, audiobooks. We notice like different kind of people like to implement the knowledge in a different way. Some don't read, they only listen. So they are taking ebooks on, for runs or when they travel in a car. That's why we gave them ebooks and audiobooks and so on. But at the same time, paperback is the biggest part, the biggest chunk of our business. It's like 95-6% of the whole business. When everyone around me are telling like no one reads paper book, like, I don't mind. I'm selling, not convincing them to read it, right? That's not my part. Everyone are adults.
Yeah, it's hard to know what's going to work. It's really hard to know what's going to work,
And you are, saying nice, okay, your book and your whole philosophy is challenging people to create like a short period of time, like weekend, do the deep work and see the results. Others are trying to like you need more time, more resources, more. Friend of mine sent me last week like a YouTube link of guys saying that they close. Two of friends, they close in one apartment like for 60 days straight. They're gonna be working hard on the business. Like from my point of view, it could be disaster because I cannot think about myself sitting in the office with some sweaty guy next to me for 60 days.
Yep.
I need to go for a walk. I need to go, to hike. I need to breathe and get this inspiration from the work or out of the work. So what's your working culture? In the office, out of office? How to get the inspiration from the outside? What makes you the most effective thing? The best decisions making?
A few things that have helped me is, a lot of times I think it's about, are we reacting or are we responding? So let's say something comes up and you're angry or you get emotional or you get triggered. Most of us react to that, which I do as well, but you have to take a pause and respond, meaning, I don't know. My mom did something and I wanted to react to her. Instead, I waited till the next morning and I responded and I was like, I'm really glad I took a pause.
Because otherwise you would kill her. I know what you mean.
Yeah, well, you're not doing your best answer. You're doing the most emotional answer that makes you feel in that moment good, but it may not be the best overall. Number two, you can get feedback as you're doing different things. So go do stuff and ask someone you respect for an opinion. And I think that's a good way of learning and improving yourself. I do it a lot. Even last night with my wife, she didn't like certain jokes I make about her. And she told me last night, I was like, thank you so much. I'll stop doing it. And then in terms of best work environment, everyone's different. I would say that most of our greatest ideas don't come when we're doing the same things.
To break the pattern. Break the pattern, right?
What's that?
To break the pattern, right? To change something.
Pattern was it?
Go left, not right.
Yeah. So, go outside, go inside if you're always outside, go up if you're always down. I think that's been a lot of my success is in a lot of success in entrepreneurship is it's actually piecing together pieces from different sectors into one. So, our biggest marketing thing at AppSumo ever came from me reading a women's magazine. Like I read a women's magazine and they did a contest for a free trip to France or something. And I was like, oh, free trip to France, that our customers don't want that, but they would want free software. And then I went to my partner and he's like, what if we did it for life? And we did a Dropbox for life giveaway, which became our biggest driver of new buyers ever in 15 years. And that was because it's, you're piecing together different things that may not relate. So go explore that. And then the last piece I would recommend to improve your creativity, or you're asking about location, is just just follow your curiosity. That sounds so fucking lame, but just like notice what you're doing when no one's telling you to be motivated. Like, what are you doing that you have more energy afterwards than when you started?
So what excites you more, right?
Yeah, like when you go online, like what are you excited to read about? So lately I'm very excited about cooking. Like I made my own homemade ramen broth. I messed up the first time. I was depressed. Then I did it again and it worked. I didn't even eat it, which is funny. But, I'm excited about cooking. Lately, because my personal finance people fired me, my wealth managers, they fired me because I didn't think they were worth it. And I was like, oh, that's really interesting. They want to charge me $100,000 to put my money in index funds. Maybe I could create a company that does that for really cheap. Or let me keep playing with my own finances and maybe I don't even have to start a company. Or in Austin, my wife wanted to make challah bread, which is Jewish bread that we make on the Sabbath, make for Shabbat. And it's hard to find challah bread in Austin. Challah, you say it funny, challah. It's hard to find it. And I was like, man, that's an interesting thing. So anyways, we talked about in the office or out of the office. I just think notice where you're naturally gravitating towards. It doesn't mean it has to be a business, but I think problems, frustrations, areas where you're not having to be motivated, areas where you're waking up earlier, areas where you're staying up later, areas where you're working on weekends, are not even working. You're just doing. Those are things that I would encourage people to follow the rabbit hole down.
Hey, and what do you think about these like crazy videos on Instagram saying like, hey, I'm a father of 16, I wake up at 4 a.m., I make my, training, I'm on the gym, I'm eating healthy. I was like, they are unreal. My question is like, how to give some clues for our readers and listeners and viewers, like how to see what's real on the internet, like based on getting knowledge. Because if you become like an effectiveness junkie, you can think I have to wake up at 4 a.m. Work like super from. What do you think about this idea and this like trend of effectiveness online?
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. I guess for me, I'm optimistic, but with people online, I'm like default skeptical. So my wife loves watching these like mommy bloggers, and it's these women who have babies, and it's like,
perfect
here's the
clothes,
makeup I use.
No steam, like perfect, like
yeah, and they have like 50 fucking posts a day. Here's my baby doing this. Here's my baby doing this. Here's the outfit of this, and I was like, these are not real people, and all they're doing is selling you more shit you don't need. And once in a while, I see a mom who looks like crap, that looks tired. That's like, yeah, here's like my baby, and like we're doing our best. I'm like, I like her. Let's follow her. Like she's the realest one. And so, I think most of these people online they are selling you, and that's okay. It's a business. They're trying to. I'm not criticizing that. But what I'm suggesting is maybe look at the person that you think you want to be like. Try it yourself and see if that's what it is. But some of these women, I don't think it's actually how my wife is or who she wants to be. But there are ones out there. And so, I guess I would say buyer or attention beware for how you spend that time.
Got it. So to sum it up, who should read your book? Beginner, entrepreneur, people who want to change their life?
The book, it's interesting. It's a self-help book wrapped in business.
Okay.
So if you're not happy with your life, or you think your life could be a little better and you want to change it a bit, the book is for you. If you have wanted to always create a side hustle and you're not sure where to start, this book is for you. If you're willing to do the work for yourself, not for me, this book is for you. If you already have a business and you want to make it from maybe 10,000 to 100,000 or 100,000 to $1 million, this book is for you. Who the book is not for is that if you're in a day job and you already like what you're doing, I wouldn't read it. If you are just wanting to buy more books and have more things on your shelf, like, fine, that's kind of nice for Marcin and me, but I don't think I would do it. If you're looking to kind of keep looking for the next answer and hopefully it's out there, the book's probably not for you. But if you're willing to like take a chance on yourself, if you're willing to say, hey, I'm going to get this book, I want to read a fun story, I want to make a difference in my life, I'd like to change where I'm at a bit or improve it a bit, yeah, grab the book today. And I think if people actually do it this weekend, like literally this weekend, right now, I think they'll be shocked about how much they can accomplish.
I'm really curious about the reaction from Polish audience for the title of the book, like $1 Million Weekend. It sounds like a scam, you know what I mean? Like you can make $1 million in 1 weekend. I know it's like a metaphor you need to put in your work, but at the same time, when we publish Felix Denis' book, How to Get Rich, that's the most scamiest title ever. Yeah. But the author for the half of the book is saying why you shouldn't get rich, and then he explained his basics.
Yeah, I mean, let me just share my income. So I got my first job, Intel. I made $55,000, and my salary at Facebook was $65,000, and at Mint it was $100,000, and then I started my own business. It went back down to $40,000, and then eventually at 30, I got to start AppSumo, and my first year salary was $0. My second year salary was $18,000. My third year salary of AppSumo was $75,000. Fourth year was $120,000. And the past some years, it's been in a very high, healthy 7-figure salary, 7-figure, take home for myself. And you're like, well, and I love my Polish people because they're always so skeptical, which is great. I think that's not a bad thing. I think that's an advantage because you're a deeper thinker. It's like, no, hold on. That means it took you 15 years to get really rich. I thought the book's called $1 Million Weekend, not decade-long slog to being really rich. And that's the point, is that it took me time to figure out a formula. So I wish I had the book earlier. That would have been nice. But AppSumo started in a weekend. That's a fact. Okay. But to actually get really rich from it, it took about 10 years. And so what I'm trying to get people to think about is, instead of in 20 years you don't do shit, plant the seeds for your garden for your future today. And you could do it in a weekend, because you don't want to spend decades doing nothing or decades working on business that no one wants. But you can validate and prove that $1 million opportunity is available to you, that you at some point, maybe it'll be in a year. I think someone will read the book and make it in a year. But within, mine was 15 years. I think people could do it a lot sooner than that, make significant amount of money. And so that's where the title comes from. I think it's compelling, and it's true, where I created a business that did make millions of dollars for the company, for myself, for other people in a weekend. But you're probably not going to, get that cash for yourself for some period of time.
Got it. So thank you very much for your thoughts, lessons, and so on. And I'm super excited to present this book to Polish audience. I'm sure we're going to be in touch, reporting you what people think.
Please, I love that, man. Maybe if we sell a certain amount of copies, I'll fly to Poland and we could do an event. Because I'll be in Europe all summer. I'll be in Europe for 5 months from
I'm
June
sure
to
we're going to
October.
catch up, like two of us, for two families for a coffee. I don't know, Poland, Spain, whatever. Not biking in spandex. No, thank you.
Fishing, though. I love fishing.
Yeah, we can have a try.
All right, so maybe we sell a certain amount of books. We'll do a thing in Poland for the Polish audience at a certain number. Maybe you can recommend. Like, how many books did Bill Perkins sell?
Like few thousand, but less than 10,000.
So if we do 10,000, that's like a shit ton in Poland?
Yeah, in this category, like self-help business books, yes. And we are selling like directly. I'm not using, like big Walmart thing and so on. So I've got all data of my customers in one place. That's why I decided to do it through the website instead of doing it in a classic way. Yeah.
If we get 10,000, let's do an event in Poland, and me and you will go fishing as well. Maybe someone who buys the book can join us for the fishing trip as well. Sounds awesome.
Yes, I do. I agree with this idea.
Jeżeli dobrnąłeś do końca tego wideo i dalej nie masz książki Noah Kagana, to nie mam słów. Przecież trzeba podjąć akcję i wejść do działania. Link poniżej, wchodzisz, kupujesz i masz za 2 dni tę książkę u Ciebie. Może nawet już jutro. I dzięki za Twój czas, za obejrzenie tego materiału. Zapraszam do pozostałych wywiadów z autorami, które na moim kanale możesz znaleźć. Marcin Osman, uczeń i wydawca książki Noah Kagana w Polsce. Pamiętaj, to od Ciebie zależy, czy spotkamy się z Kaganem w Polsce w tym roku, bo ponad 10 000 egzemplarzy tej książki gwarantuje to, że zrobimy z nim spotkanie w Polsce. Dzięki, do zobaczenia.